Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, the premier source for Second Amendment news. Little bit of an angry type video today. I got some notes to stay on track because sometimes when I see things and get fed up with things, sometimes I can get a little long-winded. But I want to start this video by saying, hey, it's Monday. It's the Monday morning grind. Everybody here knows that Blackout Coffee is a sponsor of this channel, and most of you should know by now that I am a part owner of Blackout Coffee. I've gotten a lot of messages and DMs and emails and a lot of the questions surround what some other company did in the coffee space and some of the things that they said. I'll tell you what, I, as a part owner of Blackout Coffee, I can guarantee you that we will be pro-America, we will be pro-freedom, and we will be pro-individual liberties, and that is that, period. There's no special interest for us, there's no wokeness, and we will never force our opinions on anybody else. We're no better than anybody else. What we are is a small American company that roasts small batch coffee for you, and we send it out the same day. And if that's something you can get behind, I humbly ask you to support Blackout Coffee, blackoutcoffee.com/GNG. We also do tea. We do a bunch of hot chocolates. We just released a bunch of new flavors. Get them now. Fall's coming. Sweater weather. But thank you all for the people who did reach out, because it shows that there is an interest on what Blackout Coffee is doing. Now let's get into the meat of this video, and that is your government hates you, especially if you are a lover of freedom, individual liberties, the Second Amendment, and a whole slew of other things that just doesn't go down the brainwashed woke trail. Now I mention that stuff because the government always says, you know, there's no room for hate groups or extremist groups, and that's right, there isn't. I mean, it's 2021. America has evolved to this beautiful country that is imperfect, but it is swaying far away from what it was. And you know, speaking of hate groups, the government is kind of like a hate group. We're now in a time where everybody needs to be labeled, whether you're a pro-vaxxer or anti, a spreader of disinformation. Well, sometimes the truth isn't popular, but that doesn't mean it's disinformation. We're in a time where everybody needs to be labeled by the government as something, so they can put you in a box and further divide we the people. And I'm going to bring your attention to an article, or actually it's a pamphlet that the FBI has posted. And in fact, let's look at this tweet by the FBI. And this gets you primed for this document. They're looking for people to rat on each other, again, to further the divide, because together, the populace, the freedom lovers in America, together we're unstoppable. But unfortunately, we're not inseparable. So look at this document here that they put out. It's called Homegrown Violent Extremist Mobilization Indicators. Now, it's a 2019 edition, which means it's been out for a little while. And sometimes these things are disseminated to like law enforcement and government people. But I will tell you that the government, again, hates you. They know more than they let you know. For instance, I'll tell you here, as a law enforcement officer of 25 years, we were always made aware that the federal government, the FBI, they knew that violent extremist groups, foreign groups, were practicing on American soil at locations they knew about regularly, but they did nothing about. For instance, Al-Qaeda and ISIS and the like. There's places in Maine that they train in, that they practice in. They didn't do anything about it. But the American people who love the Second Amendment, as you'll see, you all are messed up, and they want people to rat on you. Again, we're in a time where the government will label you an extremist if you don't conform to somebody else's views or somebody else's vision or somebody else's beliefs. And Mom, I'm sorry, but I'm going to throw out one of my mother's quotes when I was little. Who died and made you God? It's true. I am an American. I have rights. I have rights that I exercise regularly. I have rights that I don't exercise much at all, if at all. But does that mean that those rights should be stripped away, just like they're trying to strip away the Second Amendment? No. For instance, I'll give you an example. People say, what do you mean by that, Jared? They say it all the time. For instance, I have a right to an attorney, but I never use that right. May I someday? Maybe, maybe not. But do I think people who utilize that right for an attorney should be labeled as extremists? No, it's their right. People have the right to do certain things. I don't have to agree with people, and I don't force my opinions or my views on people. Again, this agenda is being carried out for one reason and one reason only, and that is to divide us, the people who hold true to the cores of this country, of what started it and what has brought it this far. And there's a smaller contingent of people who wish to destroy that so that they can mold their own toy. And to that, ladies and gentlemen, I will say that there are more of us than there are of them. But we need to make sure that we all have more similarities than we do differences, but sometimes we just can't see through the fog. So back to this this document that I wanted to just show you. I'll have it linked down below, but on the screen here, I'm going to show you some of the things that would label people a potential extremists that family members should rat out to the FBI. Now, I'm going to say that when you read this document, yeah, there are things on here that if people are doing it, people should deal with them. But again, some of these are just things that free Americans can do. Let's point out some of the ones that they should be worried about on their own side. Number 12, suspicious sending of financial resources or electronic equipment or survivalist gear to people or groups overseas. Well, the current administration, when Obama was wearing the crown, sent a whole bunch of financial resources to groups overseas that are extremists. But, pay no attention to that. Don't throw facts into this to muddy people's view. Number 13, receiving unexplained monies from third parties overseas. I don't know, Hunter Biden? Does that sound like him? Yeah, it does. But again, pay no attention to what we're doing. You all are the bad people. 23 will probably get forced on the freedom community more and more, especially now with the new censor campaign pushed by the White House, where they can't censor anybody, First Amendment, but they're trying and people are conforming. Well, let's look at number 27, deleting or manipulating social media or other online accounts to misrepresent location or hide group membership, contacts, or activities in support of violent extremism. Does David Chipman ring a bell? Because that's what he's done. He's been working for an extremist group who wants to delete and strip people's rights in order to promote social wokeness and communism. In fact, he deleted almost all of his tweets related to this, and we've had people come forward talking about that. Again, don't look here, folks, because you all are the bad guys. Look at 28. You play with Tannerite? Boom, that's you. How about 30? Have you purchased any military-style tactical equipment other than weapons? Those items that you're totally legal to purchase? Like personal protective equipment or body armor? Totally legal in every single state. Yet if you do that, you could be an extremist, and your family should rat on you. They should call the FBI. How about 31, guys and gals? Suspicious, unexplained, or unusual physical or weapons training. Example, multiple non-recreational gun range visits, or attempts to seek technical expertise from fight training, electronics, or chemical. Are you trying to better your skill set in an area where that you have a right to do? In fact, it's constitutionally protected, that right? Do you want to be a better shot? Do you want to be a better sport shooter? Do you want to be a better clay shooter? Do you want to be able to defend yourself, especially in times right now where it's more violent than it has been in the last couple of generations, because social wokeness? Are you looking to better yourself in anything? Look at these risk factors. It says it's important to consider the totality of circumstances when observing potential indicators, as some factors may increase the risk of extremist violence in a given situation. These factors may include, but are not limited to, inability to cope with changes or perceived failures in relationships, school, or career. So do you think that critical race theory is a bad thing? And you're not able to cope with the fact that that's what they want? Well, then you could be a bad guy. Number 2, a history of violence. Number 3 is social isolation or inability to join with or relate to others. Number 4, possession of, access to, or familiarity with weapons or explosives. Do you own a gun? Are you familiar with it? Then you could be a bad guy, and your family should rat on you. And then there's this part that's on the pages here. It says NCTC, FBI, and DHS emphasize that many of the indicators described herein may involve constitutionally protected activities and might be insignificant on their own. Because this is America, and they have this thing called freedom, and they can do these things. However, we don't like it, and we're going to try to demonize that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to make sure you are all aware that the government hates you, You probably know this anyway, but they hate the fact that there are more of us than there are of them. It is up to us, the people, to keep what we have. We can't ask government to save us because government never does. Specifically, look at what's going on around the globe right now. South Africa, Cuba. Look at what's going on, guys and gals. There's a huge movement. And if you can't see through the fog, at least start talking to some people who can. In fact, the rights that we have that they're afraid of and they're talking about in this document, that's our key to ensure it. So the video is kind of all over the place, but I want you to know that this is disseminated amongst a bunch of groups. They want people to, in fact, the FBI tweeted about it, and so now they want everybody to rat on each other because that will help separate and divide, which is what they've been working on for the last year and a half in earnest. They've been doing this for a while, but the last year and a half, I mean, a lot more cities have been burning, a lot more social infighting. You're supposed to hate this group. You can't like that group of people. That one eats certain foods. You can't like them. This one has certain beliefs. You must hate each other. It's all part of the plan, guys and gals. We have more similarities than we do differences. I hope that all of you understand that. It's time to join together, and that's what they really hate, is our freedom. Guys and gals, I thank you for your time. Until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, carry your weapon. Blackoutcoffee.com/GNG. Links are down below. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.